Good morning. Hey, everyone. Sharon Brubaker here, owner of the Grief School and the author of Grieve That Shit. And this is the place where healing begins. And my lecture today is why we feel happy and it hurts when we're grieving. Why is it that you laugh or you see a commercial and then you feel guilty that you enjoyed that thing? Let me say something that's probably going to hit you right in the chest. If you're anything like me, you finally laughed. You finally had a moment where you laughed. You finally had a moment where you laughed, and then all of a sudden you felt this thing that you describe as grief. I'm sorry, guilt. I feel so guilty. I laughed. You finally had that moment, and it feels like a little bit of light, like it feels airy. Gotta have the red lipstick, y'all. And then it hurts. This was also from Aida, my client. I love. She spoils me. I told her stop sending me stuff. She has to stop it. You finally laugh. You feel a little bit light, and then it hurts. It hurts here in your heart. And that's not a small hurt. That's a big H hurt. A deep, sharp, confusing kind of pain. Your brain starts to think, what's wrong with me? How can I be laughing? How can I be enjoying? My person has died. Something happened and it's really bad. How can I be enjoying? But if you don't understand this part about grief, you're going to stay stuck. Hey, I had a different lesson planned for today, but I was in a live, and this came up 3 times. And so I decided to write a class on it. So I went back to my notes, changed my notes up real quick, took something that I had just like this, ran it through again, made some changes, and here we are. I'm Sharon. I'm a grief specialist. I sit with women and teach them how to move beyond the pain of grief. I'm the founder of the Grief School. I do not teach you how to survive grief. Sorry, you're already doing that. I teach you how to process the pain so it can stop controlling every part of your life. And that's why when these emotions go to something that feel lighter or joyful, you don't like it. Because a lot of you think you were supposed to be in this pain for the rest of your life. Why does happiness hurt? This is where most people shut down. They feel this moment of happiness and they go back against it because they think they were supposed to stay in this pain of feeling their person. Y'all, this is huge. I want you to see this. You're here. The day before. This is the before. This is before your loss. I believe we all live in here. This is the tween. When your person died, when you had to break up the romantic relationship, when your fur baby died, your heart went to feeling this thing that we call grief pain. This is the thing you think that your person left you. They left me this. I can sense them. I can feel them. We have this feeling that this is the thing that they left me. And because we think this is the thing that they left me, this is the thing we want to feel all the time. We also think this is the thing that we're going to carry for the rest of our life. And when you feel something like laughter or lightness, you think you're moving away from this. You're moving away from this pain. And this grief pain equals your person. Before, right? Your person. And now you think this equals them. And every time you laugh or you enjoy, you think you're leaving this and leaving them behind. That's what happens. You're not. A lot of us want to feel this all the time. That we want to be in that 24/7, and we can't. I shouldn't feel like this. This means I'm moving on. This means I'm forgetting them. So we run back to the pain. Rewind back to the pain on purpose. Look, I know this because this was me. But let's talk about what's actually happening. When you feel happy, your brain immediately compresses it into the loss. And when it starts to compare it, it's brutal. You go from I'm okay 1 second to they're not here to see this. And that switch that hits, it's not happiness. It is awareness. So you switch, you have this moment. Again, here's you. Here's your brain on grief. You're doing something. You're enjoying. You're having a moment. You see something. You see the mountains from a far off distance. And there's a sunrise coming down. And you're like, oh my gosh, look at that. It's so beautiful. And you breathe it in and you enjoy it for 1 minute. The minute your heart starts to feel enjoy, your brain, you send a thought to your brain, oh, she's not here. You had an emotion. Now you have a thought. You saw something. You saw the mountains and the sunrise. You took it in. She's not here to enjoy this. And then you feel instantly sad because you now think, oh my gosh, I couldn't feel this way. If I don't feel grief, if I don't feel my grief pain, it means I'm not a good griever. It means I'm not a good griever. It means I'm leaving her. And that awareness that just happened between seeing the mountains and the sun and having the joy, you all of a sudden have the awareness, she is no longer here. And you open the door and you shut it right back down. Oh my gosh, I can't do that. You open the door and grief walked right in. Wow, look at that mountain. You open the door, grief's like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be sad. So what ends up happening? What ends up happening to you? Check this out, y'all. What ends up happening is this. Both emotions can exist at the same time. You have joy and missing. You have joy and missing her in your heart now at the exact same time. And what you're doing is you're pulling from that joy because you want to stay into the missing. And your body doesn't like this. It doesn't like contrasting emotions. It's confusing. It feels unsafe. It feels wrong. So your brain tries to fix the situation. And when your brain is trying to fix the situation, the number one place it's going to send you is to missing. It's going to send you to the negative because you're a griever, because that's what it thinks it's supposed to do. It's going to say, hey, girl, get your butt back over here. And that's why sometimes this only lasts for a second. It only lasts for a minute until it comes back again. It might last a little longer because your brain just sent you a thought. If you are happy, ... you fill in the rest. If you're happy, that doesn't look good. If you're happy, people think you're over this already. If you're happy, then you didn't love them as much. Fill it in. And this is a lie. This is a lie that your brain is telling you. Look, I'm not telling you this. I am not telling you that your person died and you should only be in joy. That's not what I'm telling you. I'm telling you your person died, you lost your person, and you're going to feel joy and missing them some days. Some days you're going to feel both. Sometimes you're going to feel both at the same time. But if it feels true, then what do you do? If you are happy, then you are a bad person. You didn't love them as much as you say you did. What happens if that feels true? We have no choice but to shut down joy. We have no choice because this feels true to us. It feels like we're not a good person. So we pull back from the joy. We stop laughing. We stop engaging. We stop enjoying the vanilla ice cream. And if we do, we sure as hell ain't going to tell anybody about it. We stop living because somehow that feels more loyal. It feels more loyal to be in grief pain 24/7 than it does to actually tell the truth. We feel like we can connect to our person better if we are in grief pain. Once we're in grief pain, while we stay in grief pain, we're connected to our person. That's a lie. What you're actually doing is training your brain. You're training your brain. You're training your brain that grief pain equals connection. Grief pain equals connection. And joy equals disconnection. And every time you go to joy, a moment of joy, a moment of laughter, your brain will send you back to here because it thinks this is disconnection. Every time you feel a little bit better, your brain punishes you. And what actually happens when you go back here, it feels deeper than it ever did before. It feels uglier than it ever did before. Sometimes you can go back here and have 3 or 4 days of punishment. Friends, here's what we call this. You're stuck. One, you're stuck. But why are you stuck? Because you're in a loop. You're in a grief loop. You're in a grief pain loop. You feel a little bit happy, and then you go back. Mary, you are the cutest thing. You are absolutely the cutest thing. Thank you, Mary. You feel a little happy, you feel guilty, you shut down, and you go back to pain. And this happens over and over and over again. And then people say, see, grief never gets better because they're constantly in this loop. And they come to prove it to me because their brain has connected this. You were never taught to do the moment that this happens. You're never taught what to do. So you keep choosing pain because it feels like love. You have to learn how to hold both. Look, grief is an emotional experience that takes place in our heart. Grief is emotion that takes place in our heart. Good, bad, sweet, sour. They all take place in our heart. You can still love your person and feel the pain of missing them. You can laugh at a show and feel the pain of missing them. You can have a good moment and not lose your connection to them. But it's what we teach at the grief school. How do you do this? You have to learn how to go through the pain. You have to learn how to process the pain. Once you learn how to process the pain, you have to complete your relationship with your person, to the pain, to the loneliness, to the isolation. And nobody taught you that. So you default back to what feels normal and what feels familiar. And what feels familiar for you is grief pain. What feels familiar, the most familiar to you is grief pain. Friends, when I was 43 years old, 2006, my nephew Austin drowned at the lake. It was Father's Day weekend. My 17-year-old daughter called me and she was screaming into the phone that she had lost Austin. Austin was my nephew, everything quirky and funny, and I loved him. And I say that, I always describe him like that, but he was interesting, He loved my husband. He was a joy to be around and to have. He had a hoarse voice. And on June 17th, as I walked up the stairs to tell my sister that we had found his little body and he had in fact drowned at the lake, I honestly thought somebody was going to come and have this. I wrote this earlier. Hey girl, here you go. Here's the grief answers. I thought somebody was going to have this. And it was going to be a trifold. And it was going to be the answers. And in this trifold was going to be all of the things that I needed to help my sister do to grieve. But this person never came. She never showed up with the grief answers. So here I stand before you 19 years later. It's been 20 years since Austin died, but 19 years that I've been a grief specialist. And I teach women how to move beyond the pain of grief. And here's the deal. Nobody came and gave me this. So I wrote this. This is a grief journal that I wrote. This is page 29. Why the heart can't be rushed. The brain is built to move fast. It wants a plan. It wants a checklist. It wants a solution. But grief doesn't work that way. Grief lives in your body. It is in your pounding chest. It is in your tight throat. It is in your stomach. The heart doesn't care how smart you are. It doesn't care how many degrees you have or how tough you think you are or how much logic you think you can spend. The heart only knows the raw truth. Someone you love is gone and that it hurts like hell. And that's why grief is not intellectual. You cannot think your way out of this. You cannot analyze it away. You cannot strategize yourself back to normal. This isn't a puzzle to be solved. It is a heartbreak that has to be felt. And that is what we teach at the grief school. We teach this at the grief school. If you're holding this book right now, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for your pain. I'm sorry you've been shoved into a world of grief, a world that's overflowing with bad advice and flat out lies about those who really do, about what loss really does to a person. Okay, I'm teaching a class on this out of this book. You can buy it in my link. You can buy it on Amazon. Or if you come to the class, I'm going to give it to you in an e-form. But if you want to actually hold the book, you need to buy it. And that's what I'm doing in the masterclass on March 30th, 31st, and April 1st. It's 3 days, 6 hours total with me. 6 hours total with me. So this is how I break it down. First day, an hour and a half. Second day, an hour and a half recorded. It's a lecture that I will be teaching that can be recorded. You can watch and rewatch the lecture. There'll be homework on day 1 and on day 2. Also on day 3. Day 3 is going to be a live grief support. It's where we're going to come together and do a grief support. What is your brain doing? Why is it doing this? What is grief actually? Why can't you stop cycling? Why can't you fix this part? Why do you keep choosing pain? So all the things we're going to talk about. And I'm going to be talking about the grief school. I'm going to be introducing you to the grief school. This is the Grieve That Shit Masterclass. Click the link in the bio and come and join me. This was really great. I wanted to teach this of why the brain disconnects between these two, between grief, pain, and joy, and how it does the disconnection, because it came up 3 times today in the live on TikTok. So I wanted to share that. So I hope this helps. I want to say that I'm honored. I'm honored to be here with each and every one of you. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your grief healing journey. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next live. Bye, friends.